Hand clap to the massive brothers and sisters. We are finally back. We finally made it to another one. Another reaction on the one and only Mystelics reaction, guys. Hand clap goes out to the masses for definitely being a part of these vibrations. Big up on yourself. I do appreciate 150 billion times more that. Brothers and sisters, for you guys being here in this regard, right there, brothers and sisters. Don't forget to do what? Click the like button, click the thumbs up button. Right there, brothers and sisters. I would appreciate it right there. Click the thumbs up button. And of course, subscribe if you've not done so yet. Click subscribe, click the bell, and you'll be notified when I drop my videos right there and then. So I will definitely appreciate you guys coming on that journey. Of course, this is where I give my thoughts. What are your thoughts as well, brothers and sisters? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below. Just watch me and watch me talking, man. Leave your thoughts in the comment box below as well. Anyways, brothers and sisters, without further ado, let us get into the vibrations for the day. Of course, somebody sent me this from St. Kitts. Big up to the Mystelics family out there, brothers and sisters. And this is what he showed me right there.
Good morning, Mystelics.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night when you're watching this video.
Hope all is well.
All is wonderful
Mystelics,
so far.
I'm just showing a short video, Mystelics.
Talk to us.
4 big cruise ships.
4 big ones, man. I remember when I was in Bahamas, brothers and sisters, and I showed you guys, if you guys were on the vlog, that vibrations in the Bahamas, you guys definitely saw that there were 5 big boats, massive boats. I was on one of them, I know. Brothers and sisters, some massive, gigantomous. I also saw a big boat in Dominica, you know, brothers and sisters, the other day there. So, but I was just one of them. But of course, you know, in St. Kitts, they have massive boats, brothers and sisters. And of course, we get to get a little something of that sort. The person sent me this as a result of what I showed them in Antigua. And of course, Antigua had 11,000 people on the basis of just one day. Whereas we saw Dominica's schedule, which was, of course, brought in about 14,000 people, give or take, you know, in about 6 days. So that's a lot of people, but very few in comparison to the other countries right there. But of course, St. Kitts is just another one doing the same thing that Antigua is doing as well.
You have Celebrity Cruise, you have Icon of the Sea, you have
Isn't Icon of the Sea one of the big boats now? Is that the one? Or am I mistaken? Icon of the Sea, isn't that the biggest cruise ship? I could be wrong, but I think it's Icon something. Anyways, let's continue.
And I can't see the other one name here in St. Kitts. When is Dominica going to be like that? When is Dominica going to allow our tourism industry to be like this? Okay.
Well, the first thing I think Dominica needs to do is to get rid of the individuals who are in charge of tourism. Get completely rid of every single person that is in charge. And those who are competent enough can then come back. But it's very clear that the leaders in the tourism sector of Dominica, they suck. They literally, figuratively, they psychologically, they suck, brothers and sisters, when it comes down to this situation. You know why I say this? Because from different videos, you have clearly seen, when it comes down to the tourism product, that they don't seem to take it seriously. One, there's the place on top, Mont Bruce, where there's a nice view, brothers and sisters, overlooking Roseau, and they tend to bring tourists up there. Even the very tour guides complaining about the very thing right there, saying, hey guys, do something about this stuff. They clear the grass, from what I understand, when I went up there, they cleared the grass and stuff, but you know, the place is still blocked. Sometimes the place looks really nice on a full moon, brothers and sisters. I think that is something individuals need to take advantage. When you see it's full moon going up there, and you see how nice it looks right there, and of course, just so sad that the tourists don't get to see that this other night, because they don't seem like they stay too long for these things, from my understanding right there. But I think they need to do something about that. When you look at the bayfront, where tourists literally disembark, you know, the very roads are in some serious terrible conditions. Remember the other day where they were showing the pathway, I think it's in Indian River, somewhere of that sort, brothers and sisters, one of the nature trail areas where they tend to bring tourists, and the place was in a dilapidated condition. They couldn't think to prepare these things. Whereas other countries, they are preparing for this. And they are definitely doing a wonderful job. Trust me on that. St. Kitts is one of the places that are doing a wonderful job when it comes to tourism. Because they know tourism is one of the big industries that they have to push for to ensure that their country is stable. Dominica's bread and basket is agriculture. And we're taking advantage of that. And then we say, oh, let's put tourism. It's everybody's business. And then apparently they don't seem to be taking. So I think that'll be one right there. Get rid of all the ministers of tourism and those relating to ministerial of tourism, the ministerial capacity of the tourism sector right there. Get rid of all of them and put competent people, because it's clear that we have incompetence in this place.
You're talking about almost close to 30,000 people, foreigners in one day.
And of course, it's definitely true, because St. Kitts definitely has St. Kitts beats Antigua by far. Yes, St. Kitts beats Antigua by far when it comes down to the tourism sector. Right there, Antigua is. I think they want to get. I think they have made the 1 million something right there. Last year they had about 900 and something thousand in Antigua. This year they want to make the 1 million. I think they have made it already.
Huh? Look at that. And there's still another small ship.
I think this is the one he's talking about.
Somewhere on the outside, at the back. Just imagine Dominica having 4 big cruise ships like that in one day. What kind of impact this is going to have? Huh?
Yeah, I agree.
Look at that.
The kind of impact it will bring. But Dominica doesn't have the right set of minds to do these things. I mean, when the Prime Minister of Dominica can come and tell you the reason why there's no factories in Dominica is because of electricity bill. I mean, come on. I didn't make that up, you know, brothers and sisters. SKERRIT come on podium and say the reason why, or one of the reasons why we don't have factories in Dominica is because of Domlec. The very thing that he adopted, the very thing he has spent over 120 million US dollars. Anyway, brothers and sisters, let's continue, eh? Well, you get my point right there. Of course, on the basis of the whole situation involving Jonathan Lehar and, of course, the justice system doing something very disturbing when it comes down to the situation right there. A lawyer from the United States sent me this message right there, brothers and sisters. I want to read it to you guys right there. Prosecutors establish motive. They establish there's a motive behind the possibility of Jonathan Lehar doing what he is alleged to have done. Murdered the 2 individuals who have been doing wonderful jobs, spent a lot of money in Soufriere to help the Soufriere people. Kind of like what Ross was doing in Portsmouth. You know, that's what... A thought came to mind. Let me leave that alone. And if you get my narrative on the basis of what happened to Ross and what the government caused Ross to leave, was the government involved in... Let's continue right there. Prosecutor established motive. There's clearly a motive because it creates a narrative for the jury, providing the defendant had intent to take the life if necessary, but establishing motive shows why he or she decides to take the life of the victim right there. It makes the prosecutor's case stronger. Was there motive, brothers and sisters? I think there was motive. You guys, correct me if I'm wrong. There was over a 10-year motive right there. And not just them, but also the people in question, you know, who they were sending the dogs behind and all kind of things. They even need a whole story on that, brothers and sisters. So it's not me that making this up. Anyways, it makes the prosecution's case stronger. Importantly, motive also serves to weaken the defense. Motive. Very interesting. Lehar had a motive to take the life of Lagos or Daniel and his companion Dominic, as he had lost the case that had been brought against him by Daniel for routinely blocking a public's road. That is motive. There's a motive for trying to do these things. When they pass on the land, oh, don't pass on my land. There's videos and all kind of things. And they want to say, oh no, there is no evidence. The prosecutor is saying that. Or very little. The prosecutor, let me take that back. The lawyers of, you know, Lehar is saying these kind of things right there. There's no evidence. Where's the evidence? You know, but there's motive. So that's very interesting right there. The failure of the state to create a narrative, including geolocation maps showing where the suspects were at or about the time, is a travesty. I was listening to a video of a wife that decided to take her husband's life because she decided she fed up with the man, and she decided, even though the man gave her a nice life, a luxurious life, taking on her 2 children, and then he had 2 children with her. So giving them a nice life, I guess she got bored or whatever, decided to cheat on the man, and then I guess she fell in love with the other guy, Then they move somewhere else, and she decided to cheat on him again, you know. So she set up motive because she wanted the insurance policies, you know, the Vex and all those kind of things there. He had a video of them cheating in one of his establishments with one of his workers, the wife and the worker. And you know, he had that there. So in case of anything, he can then present that to the judge. If you want to divorce me, well, I'll present this to the judge. Remember, he still decided to stay with the woman, you know. But he say he will stay there. But if you decide you want to divorce me, you will not get anything. So she decides she's gonna solicit the help of her two children that were not his. Okay, so while she was with him, make up a story for them to go to the building to get the child's book. They get the child's book, whatever. And when they come back, you know, the son of the woman took the man's life. She told him what to do and everything like that. It took 6 years for them to find out what actually happened right there. So motive, you want to get money and you want to run with your lover. During that 6 years of that passing where they were innocent until proven guilty, she was with her husband's right-hand man. You know, so she just wanted to be somebody else. Anyways, let's continue. The failure of the state to create a narrative, including geolocation maps showing where the suspects were at or about the time, is a travesty. It is well known that defendants can be convicted based on circumstantial evidence in the absence of direct evidence. Did you see? That's what the lawyers them on Jonathan Lehrer is doing. This is why I think there's an involvement of the government in this as well. Because when it comes down to the bail, the first government, there was an individual who was heavily involved in the government, with the government, who put up a building for him to get bail. The government's people put up a building for the Jonathan Lehrer individual to get bail. The government's people. So you don't think there's no government involvement? Really? You think that? No, they're saying that the defense is weak. The defense is weak. They say the police couldn't present case evidence and all those kind of things. That this is what they're talking about, the direct evidence. Were you there when you saw this? Do you have any witnesses that saw this? But there was a motive there, clear motive. But in Dominica, you know, anything goes, especially when the government can be involved in certain things to then bend the rule of law. Or not just the rule of law, to bend what everybody knows took place, you know. But hey, that's Dominica for you. Very interesting times, innit? Talking about the coming disasters, brothers and sisters. That's a disaster right there. A coming disaster. I actually told you guys about this already. Yesterday they put this out right there. Dilapidated building in Roseau is a disaster waiting to happen, citizens say. Yes, that's the same building that I was showing right there, brothers and sisters. So the people in authority don't seem like they're waiting for something to happen. But if it's me that passing, I must pass under them. I must just pass under there and just wait for a piece of thing to hit me and see. let me, brothers and sisters, I'm not gonna do that. I like my life, I rather my health and stuff, but I'm just saying, if something were to happen, brothers and sisters, and then somebody sues somebody for this, who do you think is gonna take the blame? Why don't they do something about this? I put this out already. It is definitely a problem. You can see this thing falling apart. But if this whole thing does fall long and does hit you in your neck, Mr. holding his back. I don't know if one of the things hit him or something, but this guy's holding his back, brothers and sisters. We are zooming features here, you know. Yeah, we are technology. Look, the man watching the thing. Maybe something hit him. And that might be a tourist. Look, these guys are watching this. This is not a museum, you know. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Right there. Anyways, brothers and sisters, I just decided to put this out yet again. This is another vibration that has been taking place in the nature of the Caribbean, Dominica, brothers and sisters. People were sending me this. Mystelics, what's going on here? What is this, man? What is this, buddy? Not even a number plate SKERRIT dumb can afford. But they can afford to increase their salaries. Remember when the police was in Roseau pushing their boss? And they were asking for help from the citizens to help push their boss? This is the boss that does carry, from my understanding, this is the boss that does carry people back to prison, back and forth. And people are saying, Mystelics, that is the state of it. They cannot even get a proper number plate to put. We can, you know, you guys can go by, what is his name again? Sign man. You can just go by sign man and get a little thing, get a thing done. That's the state, even the state has to pay for this. So you mean to tell me the state don't have money to pay for a number plate? Or they have to take cardboard and probably somebody lipstick and put and write that. Okay. It's rough. But you don't see rough yet. And brothers and sisters, there's a video that was sent to me a number of times right there. And there's some sort of situation that is happening. So let's take a listen to what this young girl has to say in that regard right there.
Houses in Dominica has received a shocking letter. The letter is addressed to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, the Chief of Police, the Welfare Division in Dominica, and the Minister of Health, Kazani Laville. The letter, written by 18-year-old Aaliyah Andre on December 4th, 2024, reads, "My name is Aaliyah Andre, and I am a child living at Chances. I am writing this..."
Chances. There's a chances in Postmore. There is.
This letter because I feel trapped, hopeless, and unheard. I, along with the other children here, endure...
Oh, I thought it was chance.
constant abuse, neglect, and mistreatment. I do not know who else to turn to, but I am begging for someone to hear my cry and help us. The people entrusted with our care have turned this place into a source of pain and suffering. Mrs. X, who will not be named...
You should call names. That's what you should do. You should call names sometimes. Especially when people are ill-treating you or mistreating you. Whichever you want to put it, brothers and sisters, you should call names. Just like when one of my friends came down, she's a nurse in overseas, came down and realized all the situation that was happening in the hospital, especially when it comes down to the caretaking of her grandmother and how they were caretaking the lady. She called names. Yeah, she did call names, and I think we need to start calling names when it comes down to wicked people in society. There's also another thing I was watching as well when it comes down to the situation of a guy who was in a coma for 12 years. But he knew exactly everything that was happening. He talking about people calling him names, feeding him his... They used to feed him his own vomit when he puke and all these kind of things there. There was a level of abuse in that regard, if you get my drift. Right there. He remembered all these things. He woke up and he told the tale. Because they thought he was unconscious. It's an interesting thing when it comes down to the mind and the body. The body might not be functioning, brothers and sisters, but the mind is wide awake sometimes. I think there was a psychologist that indicated that even though you're in a coma, sometimes 15% of the people who are in comas are very conscious. They are just not able to move their physical bodies. So the question here is, why do people who are supposed to be caretaking of, who are paid to care individuals, tend to most times be abusive to the people who they are taking care of? Don't get me wrong, you know, this is just her side of the story. She could be a disrespectful person. She could be a rude person, and this, as a result, then the people are fed up, you know? You're not my mother, you don't tell me nothing. Your mother, you never know. These things could happen. This is just one side of the story. But at the same time, you need to train individuals to do things that are necessary. And by that, I mean be able to de-escalate situations. This is why most of the police officers should not be a police officer today. Because sometimes they are the ones escalating, and I'm not just talking about Dominica, and I'm talking about the United States as well. A lot of the police officers should not be police officers today. They should be fired forthwith. Go and work in a grocery store. You know? Go and do something of that sort. You should not be manhandling people. That's why I tell all you, when the police mishandle all you should take them to court. Do like the United States. You know how much millions, that's a $1 billion industry of people taking police to court and getting paid millions of dollars. You know that? All you must bring it to Dominica. But then again, the prosecutor Anyways, let's continue.
In this letter, who is supposed to be our protector, constantly belittles us. She mocks us by saying things like, open quote, what your parents couldn't do is what I was put here to do, end quote.
Well, that has some truth to it. Now, like I said stated before, brothers and sisters, not like there's a set of angels in the police. Everybody, if a halo on top there, everybody, and then the lady and these people just come in and curse you and tell you all kind of thing. No, one thing to say is one side of the story. What is the other side? No, I'm not saying that these people, kind of be frustrated. Just like the hospitals, brothers and sisters, the nurses and stuff can be getting frustrated, especially when they are underpaid and have to take the abuse of the patients. So I'm not saying, that there might be a give and take in this situation. You give in, the person taking, then the person taking, you give in, all kind, them kind of something there.
Throwing our parents' struggles and failures in our faces.
But what your mother and father couldn't do, SKERRIT them say the same thing to us. I don't think you should tell the lady, feel anyway. The lady SKERRIT tell people, SKERRIT tell her, no. Dronilia can tell what your mother and your father couldn't do for you. She make a calypso on that again. So, and that's the Minister of Education. So, hopefully you get the necessary, hopefully somebody gets to look into this and actually, rectify the situation if the persons have to be fired or something like that. Or they have to probably bring you to a military school, I don't know, bring you to some level of understanding or discipline in that regard, because there can be cause and effect why the person is responding that way. But since you write in letter, maybe you fed up on the person, and decide to write a letter and put it out there when yourself had dirty ways too. You understand my sentiment? Anyways, let's continue.
She humiliates us in front of everyone.
Well, that's a difference right there. She's not supposed to do these things. She's not supposed to do these things. But like I indicated before, what is the cause why the lady is doing this? Maybe the lady herself going through struggles at her home, or whoever is, these people who are caretaking going through struggles at their home because they feel in the economy and so forth and bring distress on you. If that is the case, that's not supposed to be at all. They should be fired if that is the case. However, if you bring in them stress now, then discipline should happen. Maybe you just decide, I'm going to get you fired and send letter. I know children does. Or the people, I know how people are operating.
Making us feel worthless and unloved. Her words cut deep. And she calls us ungrateful when all we long for is to be treated with kindness and respect. Okay. How can we show gratitude when we are treated like this? Everything with Mrs. X comes with conditions. She bribes and manipulates us to act the way she wants or to become her spies.
Her spies? What is this? 007? But there's something interesting that was stated right there.
She bribes and manipulates us to...
She bribes and manipulates you guys. I don't know. This from what I'm hearing there, kind of sounds like it's a we versus them kind of situation. And they try to infiltrate we by giving us different things, bribing us. I mean, when it comes into bribery, we know that is something that tends to happen in elections. So you writing letter to certain people might fall on deaf ears, but but I'm just saying based on what exactly is going on within that vicinity. We need to hear her side of the story as well.
Act the way she wants or to become her spies, pressuring us to betray each other just to earn her favor.
That's why I said there's songs like there's a we versus them. That's very interesting.
If we do not comply, we are punished severely, sometimes by being deprived of food.
Well, that's another story right there. You cannot deprive the people who you are being paid for with food. Maybe get some disciplinary actions or get whoever is involved to discipline individuals when they're doing certain things that they should not be doing. But to deprive individuals of food that you are getting paid to do, that's not right at all.
Basic hygiene supplies or even bus fare to get to school and much more.
But if you're a caretaker, who is the one handling the bus fares? Are the caretakers the one handling the bus fares? Is the government the one handling it? Who exactly are they receiving funds from non-profit organizations? Are they a non-profit organization that receive funds from different people and therefore have to do these things? Why then doesn't Melissa the one come on board to thing? If you, I think one of the things, if you are in a caretaker home, and you need to go to school, there should be somebody designated to take you to school, and then they pay that bus driver, something like what I saw one of the individuals doing in Portsmouth at the government school. Parents pay him to bring their children to school back and forth, and I guess after every month they pay him a sum of money instead of the children paying him the sum of money, because you're a caretaker, you're home. What if they decide to take that money? And another question is, what if they decide to give monies and then they realize that these people are not using the monies for the buses, they're using some monies for something else? It could be that as well. So,
it feels like we are constantly being punished for simply existing.
If that is the case, tell them to stop their dirty ways.
The cook, another caregiver, is no better. She curses at us with vile language.
Well, if that is the case, that cook needs to be fired. You cannot be cursing people, children. I don't care what the parents have done. People are, certain ways. But let's not act as if people in orphanage and this kind of things that the children don't come on. We know it's a hard knock life when it comes on to some of this, a lot of these folks right there. But I think these people probably need help, and they probably don't have the amount of work or help that they need when it comes on to caretaking of these little ones. So I think probably adequate help is not there. But you shouldn't be cursing people, children.
Calling us degrading names and cursing at us, saying things like, shut your effing mouth.
What? Well, that's different. That's on a whole different ballgame. You should never, you can get angry, at different people when things happen, but you should never get to the extent where people can then use your anger against you or what you have done against you.
Salop, whores.
So she just randomly call you guys these names. There was no action that might cause them to think that way. Then again, if you are a caretaker raising these people, how did they end up that way if you're the caretaker? Which means you probably faltered in that regard. Don't get me wrong, blame should go on both sides, especially when one is 18 years old. Man, they kick you out of the house, you're 18 years old already, they might say, hey, go and find your way.
Her rage often leads to denying us meals, leaving us hungry for days and scared.
Well, that's another situation right there. But I would like to hear the other side of that story, right? Because that's kind of crazy. I'm not saying there's a hard knock life. It can happen true. What she might be saying might be all true. But we have to be mindful of these things, man.
She speaks to us as though we are beneath her, making it clear that she views us less than human. Sometimes she even squares up to us like she wants to physically fight.
So she does, or you just sit down there nice and she just come up, hey. I highly doubt that is the case, though. I think all you probably will give the lady problem and she decides, hey, I fed up with all you and come. Or they make the lady vex. Could be that. But you're not telling that side of the story. You're acting as if you guys are innocent in that regard. Now, guys, the way I'm thinking is not on the basis of them directly. I'm thinking of the other caretaker homes across the world that I know, and especially for troubled ones. I'm thinking of how they act, and they have military persons to literally be there and this kind of things. I don't think that is the case when it comes down to the situation right there.
Intimidating us into submission. The bus driver adds to our misery.
So that if everybody, come on. If the bus driver adds to your misery, something is wrong with all you. Because if the cook have problem with all you, the person that in charge have problem with all you, the bus driver have problem with so you mean to tell me they're just ganging up on all you? Like I said it before, it could be they ganging up on them true because they are frustrated with the economy of Dominica. But it could be you guys are also frustrated with the economy of Dominica and giving them frustration as well.
When she's upset, she refuses to take us to school, driving off and forcing some of us to run behind the bus.
What? What is that then? So you probably, Well, you guys know this already.
This public humiliation leaves us feeling degraded and hopeless.
I sure. What did you guys do though? That's a question I want to know.
She constantly refers to us as, open quote, them children, end quote.
Well, you gonna blame them. It's not their children. Them children, they don't behave themselves. If it's their children, you say my children don't behave themselves. Sometimes even your mother and father, them children don't behave themselves.
As
I know. I was told that a number of times.
though we are nothing more than a burden to her. She curses at us and reminds us that we are here.
Yeah, you should be cursing at them. I don't care how bad they be. You shouldn't be cursing them. Because at the end of the day, you are the adults. And I know they can frustrate you. Want to just hit them some WWF. I get that. But you know, you should.
As if we don't already know how broken our lives are. She also reminds us that nothing we say will ever matter, as we are nothing. She also...
Well, she shouldn't say that. She shouldn't say that at all. And I guess out of frustration, she said that.
beats the smaller kids in a rage, as if she was so angry and annoyed with them. One of the caretakers always comes in drunk, high, and smelling of marijuana.
Well, I mean, come on. If that is the case right there, I mean, come on. What are you doing? Kind of reminds me of not just this establishment, but other people used to come in. I remember a particular friend of mine goes into an establishment, and the people are just around, the people who are supposed to, you know, he's there, come to say, hey, how can we help you, and this kind of things there. These people are just around, you know, just minding their business. They see person there, they're minding their business, and, you know, they just checking the scene, like, who laughing with each other, and this kind of things there. They don't really care. And nothing of that sort. And I don't care if the person say come in and they say good afternoon. Your business is coming. You are the one who's supposed to be polite to the individual and say, hey, good afternoon, how can we help you? So it's not just that particular situation, but this kind of mannerisms happen everywhere in Dominica, and that's not a good thing at all.
On a daily basis, Mrs. X is fully aware and does nothing about this. I have complained to Mrs. X and she completely ignores anything I say.
Why? Guys, don't get me wrong, I'm trying to look at it from both point of views. How could it be? And my journalism understanding of these kind of establishments and the people who operate in them, sometimes you have bad eggs. Just like in the police station, you have bad eggs. Just like in the Minister of Government, you have bad skerrits. I mean, bad people. And you have different things, you know, different players in the field. Some people get corrupted by others, you know, because of the mannerisms that they say. This is one of the reasons why I mentioned yesterday in the ending of my video. I said it's one thing when the lawyers are entering, new people who are just entered into the bar. They want to do nice things. They want to do great things. They want to uphold justice in Dominica. But when the system, the justice system is corrupt, they themselves are going to be attached in this, and this is like a normal practice. They themselves going to adopt that culture. Is either they move or they try to change it, which can be frustrating, or they adopt the culture on themselves and they help perpetrate that same culture continually. I think that is across the board when it comes on to certain businesses in Dominica.
The favoritism at chances is unbearable. Mrs. X has her favorites, often choosing children who gossip or carry stories back to her.
So that probably means Mrs. X is probably someone who likes to gossip as well. I wonder who that could be.
She spreads sensitive and deeply personal information about us to the caregivers, who then gossip about it outside of chances.
I think there should be some confidentiality situation going on here. That's probably why they're doing it, because they realize there's no consequences to do that.
Even tells her child who attends my school private details about us, which are then used to humiliate us in public. And
but why is your child then humiliating them by? That means your child, the caretaker's child, is equally responsible for that. If that is the case, if you as a caretaker telling your child certain things, and your child is then using these things that you tell her or him or her about the people you are caretaking, that means you are further helping to perpetrate the disaster that is already happening.
In school, Mrs. X manipulates situations with families who want to adopt us. If she doesn't like a child, she sabotages the adoption process by bad-mouthing them to prospective families.
Well, I mean, you don't want. I mean, I think when it comes into this situation, based on how the child is, behaving and this kind of things, I think they need to tell the people who want to adopt these children, hey, this is how the child is, don't mind, but you should do it in a professional way, because you would have to tell the people, next thing, the people say, I don't want that child again, bring him back, and you're yourself confused. You see me? So these things do tend to happen from time to time. So if you're not behaving yourself, the caretaker have a right to tell them, hey, this is not a properly, proper mannered person right there, So I think that would be the case right there.
Steering them toward other children instead. She lies to families, making false promises or spreading rumors, causing conflicts and confusion. She tells us that no one will ever want us and threatens to send us back to our abusers or to other facilities like Operation Youth Quick, further breaking our spirits.
So Operation Youth Quick is terrible, because if you're threatening to send you back to Operation Youth Quick, that stuff is another problem too.
Basic needs like food, clothing, and supplies for school are often withheld. The clothing and shoes that are donated stays in Mrs. X's office until...
Sounds like what Melissa them do with the ham. There's a pause there. I don't know what's going on there.
She then burns them outside, showing us what we could have had.
Nah, if that is the case, come on. Mrs. X, come on, you can do better than that, Furthermore, it's not your salary that paying for these clothes. These clothes are for them. Are you burning these people clothes? What? Oh my God.
We are constantly begging for items like devices to complete our schoolwork or even proper meals. Despite the supposed purpose of chances as a safe haven, it feels like we are living in another form of captivity.
That is something else,
The caregivers often gossip in front of the management office, discussing us as if we are problems to be categorized rather than children in need of help. They mock us for struggling to learn or for not being as fast learners as the others. Instead of supporting us, they demean and ridicule us.
This is why you need the competent set of people to handle the situations. It's not just people putting people there, oh, do this and we'll pay you and what have you. You have a job. Sometimes people just there because they have a job, they get any salary and that's it. They don't really care about what they're doing. This is why I think it's important when people really care, you tend to know how somebody is based on the previous jobs that they were doing. How well they handle it. This is why businesses ask for references, to find out what the kind of person you are, the kind of work were you viable, that kind of stuff.
Many of us older children are forced to care for the younger ones, while the caregivers lounge around, gossiping and focus on their own devices.
I can say that is a huge possibility right there. I can say that's a very huge possibility. Like I indicated before, hey, they might not care about you, yourself, they're just there for them to draw their salaries and that's it. Just like some of the police officers, a police officer literally told me that, Mystelics, I don't worry those people. Then people don't worry about themselves. I go to worry them. I join my salary. I have my benefits. The police wanted that. I say, well, it's how it is, bro.
We are treated as unpaid labor, expected to shoulder responsibilities far beyond our age and capability.
Well, you are 18 years there. I mean, what are you talking about far beyond your age and capability? They're asking you to build a house or something? What exactly would they want to be doing inside there? Clean the fan, do some chores around the house and those kind of things there? That maybe, I don't know. I myself don't know the situation. I just wondering what exactly would be the chores. What exactly would that be?
The mental and emotional abuse is unrelenting. Mrs. X often threatens to send us away or reminds us of our traumatic pasts to break our spirits further.
So you mean to tell me that you guys are so nice children that she's threatening you guys? There's something missing here, brothers and sisters.
She spreads lies about me personally, calling me horrible names like whore and accusing me of things I have never done.
Well, if you have never done it, she shouldn't be calling you this kind of things there. Mrs. X, what are you doing?
These false accusations and insults make me feel worthless and deeply ashamed. I cannot describe the constant state of fear I live in. I feel so alone and deeply unhappy here. Every day feels like a battle to survive the emotional onslaught. Many of us have even thought about ending our lives.
Please don't do that. The question here is, I must ask, where are the churches when it comes into this situation right there? Do they have any reference point where they can go to? Is there somebody that they can talk to? Because the mere fact they have to be writing letter to SKERRIT and to police station, I think there should be some sort of organization where they're supposed to be able to reach out. And then the people come and, you know, check to see what's going on. Have an overview, have an oversight.
Because
Or constant abuse will constantly take place.
of the hopelessness we feel here, I have often thought of just walking to the sea and ending the pain, because being told I'm worthless every day makes me feel like there's no point in living.
Well, the point of living is not for you to go and walk in the sea and end yourself. The point in living is for you to know the Creator, one, and for you to have your purpose in this life. You're not the only one that feels certain ways about doing certain things, about ending yourself. Sometimes it's the very people who I know a number of stories where people went through some absolutely horrible life. And today, they are doing absolutely phenomenal. So there's always hope when it comes down to life in itself. When there's life, there's always hope, you know. There's always hope. So never squander that hope, or never squander life, I would have to say.
Some of the staff are also too scared to speak up. Mrs. X threatens them, boasting about her influence in welfare.
That's not good.
And how she can have them fired at any time. She also speaks about the staff to us as kids and try to have us spy on them. I've tried to reach out to welfare workers while they were at chances. The welfare worker told me now is not the time. She would come back.
You know what that reminds me of, brothers and sisters? That reminds me of Kenisha 18. On the basis of the understanding that we heard, it seems like welfare failed her. Welfare failed her because I think the father was trying to get her at one point in time, and for some reason or the other, that just didn't happen. So, does welfare need a revamping? I think that whole thing is not just her, but I think the whole of welfare in Dominica need a revamping.
The worker never came back, and I later on found out she's close friends with Mrs. X. We basically do not have anyone we can speak to or complain to, as they're all friends and they are all part of the abuse.
So I think that is very interesting right there. Like I indicated before, is there no organization that they can actually reach out to and there's some sort of oversight where somebody can actually come and talk and say, hey, what's going on? I mean, that would actually help though.
As I turn 18, I promise to relentlessly
Oh, you're not 18 yet. You're turning 18, okay.
seek help and ensure our voices are heard. We, the children at chances, have no voice.
Well, you're not the children now, you're turning 18. So
There is no one we can talk to or turn to without retaliation.
that's not good at all.
I will not stop until something is done. We deserve better, and I will fight for justice for myself and the others who are too scared to speak out. Please, I am begging for someone to help us.
Yeah, I think somebody needs to go inside there and review this whole situation, man. And not just play favoritism because that's the person that you know and this kind of thing. This is what the problem, this is what is wrong in Dominica. There's a lot of favoritism. And when you have favoritism, brothers and sisters, you know what happens? The wrong set of people get into positions. Sorry about that. The wrong set of people get into wrong positions, and the wrong set of people do the wrong. Sorry about that. The wrong set of people get into wrong positions, and they do wrong things to people.
We are just children trying to heal and survive, but the people meant to care for us are breaking us even more. We need someone to step in and stop this. We need someone to save us from this nightmare. Take a moment to consider the other children who have stayed at Chances. They too have endured unimaginable abuse under Mrs. X's care. Many of them have been left broken.
I think everybody need to come out and say something about it, not just one person. I think that is a problem that we have in Dominica, not just for this situation, but for everybody seeing what is happening in the country and nobody saying much. They know the hospitals who have not much equipment. They not saying much. They see the roads. They see all sorts of things. They ain't scared. They see all kind of people increasing their salaries for no merit at all. You usually get increasing salaries when there's merit. There's no merit at all, but increasing salaries. And we wondering what's going on. And then we asking, oh my goodness, what can we do? Oh my God, I'm feeling the strain and the pressure. Stay there, don't say nothing still.
Their cries for help unheard. Some have lost their way entirely, now wandering the streets with shattered minds and spirits.
That's not good.
There are caregivers who genuinely care and try to make a difference, but they feel trapped, afraid to lose their jobs if they speak out. It is heartbreaking to think that those in position to help are silenced by fear, while the children continue to suffer. How many more voices will go unheard? How many more lives will be lost to neglect and silence? This cannot continue. Again, this letter written by Aliyah Andre, allegedly an abused child of Chances. This letter is addressed to the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, the Chief of Police, the Welfare Division in Dominica, and the Minister of Health, Kazani Laville. In this day and age, should these activities alleged be tolerated in Dominica?
Not at all. This is why I personally believe, no guys, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, the children are innocent. I'm not saying that the people are innocent. I think somebody need to go inside there and check it out and see what needs to be done. And if what needs to be done is people getting fired, fire them. If what needs to be done are the children getting disciplined because they are unmannerly, there needs to be discipline. Sorry about that again, guys. But I think that something needs to be done. There needs to be some rectification that is happening there so that this abuse doesn't continue. You're talking about the future here. People who can have a bright future when it comes on to the utilization of the skills and talents. So I think something needs to be done when it comes on to this situation. What are your thoughts, guys? What do you advise? What is your advice right there in this situation? What do you think should be done in this regard? Leave your thoughts in the comment box below, guys, and don't forget to click the thumbs up button. I would appreciate that. Subscribe and turn on our post notifications so you can get the latest vibrations when they tend to come through right there and then. So, Mystelics once again, guys. Be real, salute the king always.